All right, welcome back. I'm gonna pick up where I left off last night, a couple minutes earlier, just so I don't miss anything. And let's get right back in. I've been dying to watch this.
And Abdullah bin Laden
There we
arrived
go.
2021. Saif al-Adel, who is the chief of the external operations of Al-Qaeda, returned in 2022. Hamza bin Laden returned in 2022 as well to Afghanistan. Saif al-Adel and Hamza al-Ghamdi, they are the two major guys in Al-Qaeda's leadership. They run mainly everything. And they are battle-hardened fighters. I mean, Saif al-Adel himself is coming from the Special Operation Forces.
Are you serious? The people that the U.S. trained?
No, he was in the Egyptian Special Forces.
Okay.
Okay, he was in Sudan, Yemen, Libya. He fought, against the Soviet troops in Afghanistan. The guy is a genius, and he is cold, and he is just marching to execute the mission. He is talking about, we know that from meetings, what they had. Of course, he is devoted himself to Allah. His life is the jihad, but it's a military guy. So when we talk about operation planning, it's a military guy.
Do they have different tiers within the organization? Do they have like like how U.S. military set up? They have tier one organizations, being Team Six, Delta. They have they have conventional forces, the infantry. They have. Is it broken up like that into tiered units?
Not in Al Qaeda.
Okay.
Not in Al Qaeda. It's what they did is that they prepared and trained, the fighters, the attackers for Europe and for America to carry out the attacks, and very very well planned operation. If you just see, what we've been talking about. And what I can see from them is that they even told us, it just, let me quote you Saif al-Adel from 2023 November. This is what he wrote. We are facing this major shift in the global jihadist path and facing a radical change in rules of fighting on the occasion of the opportunity of the century that may occur only once or twice in a lifetime. We call on our Islamic peoples everywhere to fight this battle, which is the most important Islamic step. So they even are telling us they are changing. And if you see the previous attacks, you could see how the Hamas attack was already more brutal. It was extremely organized. I talked to former colleagues from the US Special Forces, and I asked them, what's your opinion? And they said, wow, they were extremely organized and synchronized what they did in Israel, the Hamas says. And if you see, it was several raids at the same time.
When I think of terrorists, I mean, I don't care if they think it's fucking racist or some shit. When I think of a terrorist, I think of like someone like a dirty person with like a bomb strapped to the chest. They're like modern fighters now. They get their shit together, and it's not a good thing.
And we're going to start seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. And when I talk to other analysts, this is what I can see. It's kind of I don't know, it's a tendency now that no, that doesn't fit Al Qaeda's profile, oh, that doesn't fit Saif al Adel, it doesn't fit it, these old dogmas. And if you see Al Qaeda is okay, it's a terrorist organization, but it's part of nature. So it learns, adapts, and evolves. So why are we just denying that? It's just acting as part of nature.
Have they ever been more effective than they are now?
Well, I was really surprised the changes and the achievement what they have reached during the last 2 years, and they are stronger than prior 9/11. They have more money, they are more organized, they are more trained. I mean, just to see the training what the fighters have received, and they are still receiving, okay? So they haven't stopped training fighters. That's scary. I mean, just to look at their equipment.
Yeah, it's all our equipment.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
left it all.
It's all
Yeah,
U.S.
mainly,
equipment.
mainly, yeah, mainly.
I was going somewhere. I'm trying to regain my train of thought. The info that you're putting out is it's hard to keep a thought. It's hard to keep a thought. Can you explain what the Islamic Army is and who all is involved?
Yeah. It was 2023 November when it was right after the Hamas attack when I started to track movements of fighters. So the Taliban, Al Qaeda, and the Iranians, they moved fighters to Syria, Iraq, and it was extremely organized. I mean, they used airlines. So it's not even just cars, airlines. And then I started to see.
What do you mean they used airlines? I know that's on the outline.
Yes,
About the
so
airlines.
right after the Hamas attack, the Taliban sent fighters to Iran, to IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard bases. They took a plane there, they took planes there, and Iran flew them to Damascus. It was before the 19th of November, no, 19th of October, because we just put the information to the system. Listen, guys, massive fighters flow are going to Damascus and they are going by airplanes. And that's when Israel bombed the runaway of Damascus, just to prevent the planes landing. And then they turned to ground transportation mainly, which was, a little bit slower because it's not easy to move a lot of people. But before that, that's what they did.
Something that's on, speaking of the airlines, and I'm switching gears here a little bit. Couple things. I want to talk about the invisible bomb that Sarah Adams has been discussing. We've talked about it several times. In fact, there's a really good discussion on it on our X Spaces. I think that's what they call it. But I want to talk about the invisible bomb. And I also want to talk about, let's start here. Scott Mann obviously has a lot of sources and is really tied in with this stuff as well. I know, I don't want to mention any names who he's involved with. I don't know if I should or not. I think it's okay, but I'll keep that quiet. But he's really tied in with some of the people that were in NDS. As I mentioned before, NDS is was the Afghanistan's version of CIA, MI6. It's an intelligence organization, and he got reports that they are Al Qaeda, these terrorist organizations. The Islamic Army is predicting 50 to 60,000 casualties within the United States alone. We talk about 9/11 was a $500,000 budget. Now we're sending $40 to $87 million.
Yeah.
What is there any through through your network, have you heard anything about 50 to 60,000 casualties?
I mean, if you see that it's going, I mean, they are talking about mass casualties. Okay, that was mentioned several times, and it's really not about to show off. Okay, I mean, if you see the 9/11 attack, it was all about destroying symbols, and I'm really not about numbers. I mean, 3,000 people died. Now it's all about mass slaughter, and because that's going to paralyze the entire nation. And it's not just about the casualties. Just imagine that services will be shut down. And if
What kind of services?
I
Power
mean,
grid? Those type of services? Water?
I mean,
We're
just
talking police departments?
yeah, emergency. I mean, hospitals will be overwhelmed. Taking care of casualties. Still, I'm not even talking about economic impacts. I mean, if it's happening just at the same time in several big American cities, you know, airlines, they will be stopped for sure, standard operation procedure. So the economic impact of this and the chaos, what it's bringing within. And who you are going to trust after. It just so it's so wide, the impact, and they are aware of it. That's why they planned it, and that's why the Hamas attack was an amazing rehearsal, because they could see that, step by step, line by line, what are the outcomes of an attack like this.
Let's dive in a little more specifically. Let's talk about the economic impact. How would that affect the economy?
Well, if you see the 9/11, I mean, the stock market was shut down. I think also for a week. I'm not sure about the time, but that can be predicted. Just to see how the goods are flowing, just really, I'm talking about the local level. I think it's more, it's easier to explain. Just filling up, the goods of the supermarkets. We talk about 1 week, 2 weeks. Will it happen? You don't know. Could you catch all of the shooters? Because we don't even know the number of the people in the cells. So it's this massive manhunt. Banks, obviously they will be closed. So the economic impact of this is also, I wouldn't minimize it. So it has impact on every part of our lives.
Man, I didn't even think about that. I did not even think about that. So the hospitals will be overflowed. The first responders, being the police, that will be completely taxed. There won't be enough of them to go around. We already talked about proper allocation of resources, which would be extremely hard to do.
Yeah, just imagine that there is a woman and it's time to delivery, and the hospital is just dealing, I don't know, 100 casualties there, so it's...
Let's talk about the invisible bomb. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah. So it was, I don't think too many people paid attention. It was a video released in 2023. I was lucky because I saw the video. So I think it took for the authorities 30 minutes to remove from the internet. But there was one website where you could watch the video, I think, for a couple of days. And yeah, the airlines are still in the plan, to attack. And the invisible bomb, it's a homemade explosives. So they guide you step by step how to make your own bomb home. And the most interesting part was because they even talk about it in the video, that they made this research where you can buy what For example, what ingredients you cannot buy in the United States, or it's tricky to buy because maybe the law enforcement, is keeping an eye on the sales. So it's really detailed how to make it step by step. Of course, you need patience, and it's not so easy as it sounds, but you can make it. And it's a powerful bomb. The trick, what they made about it, is that when you prepare the bomb, you need to remove the smell, of the explosive, and then after you cover it with silicone. And that's why, and it doesn't have metal parts. So it's chemically induced explosion. So metal detectors are useless.
Dogs?
Dogs, no, because the silicone itself is just sealing the smell. So the only way is that, and even they show it in the video. The only way to detect this bomb is that the body scanner. The only way.
Okay. So they go through metal detectors.
Yeah.
A dog can't sniff it. It could, so this could easily get onto airlines, pretty much anywhere that doesn't have the body scan machine, which most, I don't know how many airports have that now, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the
They
majority.
even tell in the video that not too many airports have it. I mean, the series is so detailed. I mean, they did the recce at the airports, and they are telling it that they check the airports, not so many. They are talking about big airports like, I don't know, I think in New York, JFK, they have it, they use it, but smaller airports, they don't.
Even some large airports don't.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and it even in the video. So the video, it's about to make a homemade explosive like half a kilo, which is powerful. They even demonstrate it, so you can see it, and just less than 200 grams. Oh, sorry, it's a European language. Grams. It's enough to make an explosion in an airplane, which is going to be catastrophic.
I mean, even airplanes. I mean, that would be devastating. But we're just talking airports. What about major arenas, stadiums, concerts, football games, baseball games,
Yeah.
hockey games, speaking events, hospitals, schools?
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. Nobody has this type of technology except the major hub airports within the United States, which even some major hubs haven't even implemented this type of technology with the body scan yet.
Yeah, and there are some airports, when they do body search, but of course they don't touch, for example, your intimate parts. You can hide it there.
How big is this?
I mean, it showed like it's approximately, I don't know, like 20 centimeters, and it can contain half a kilo, which is really powerful. And
Is it about, I mean, how
Yeah.
thin is it?
I mean, it's like they even make the bomb. It's like a mineral water bottle, and actually they use a mineral water bottle to make it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a half a liter bottle. You can make it.
What kind of devastation are we talking about?
It was shown on bricks. They put together, and yeah, it's powerful.
Could it, I mean, would it take a building out?
No, that's not. But for example, if you just go there next to gas lines, so the bomb itself, if you use one, yeah, probably it's going to kill people around you. But it's not. We are not talking about huge vicinity of that. But if you have couple of ones and couple of people, yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like a VBID.
No, because it's big, so you can't hide it.
It wouldn't be as devastating as the typical suicide bomber that wears a vest.
No,
Be a somewhat of a, I don't want to say minimal explosion, but compared to what we've seen overseas with a vest full of explosives or a car full of explosives. It would.
They find a solution for that. So what they did is that I don't know if you remember, in Afghanistan they put even screws, in the vest.
Fragmentation.
Yeah, exactly. So what they did now is that they shred plastic. It's like, with a knife, you cut this hard plastic, and it's sharp.
You sign up for something, forget about it after the.
Is everybody on the same page as me if you're watching this? That, like, god damn it. If you're not subscribed to Shawn's show, please go do that. I don't care if you subscribe to me. Go to his page.
The trial ends, then you're charged month
more
after
important.
month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused every month. Thanks to Rocket Money, I can see all my subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones I'm not using anymore. And now I'm saving more money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts and keeps you informed with alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget. Rocket Money will even automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save and lower your bills. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/SRS today. That's rocketmoney.com/SRS. rocketmoney.com/SRS. If you're like me, health and wellness is extremely important to you. But how do you know who to trust when it comes to the supplement industry? We have all these companies, they pop up every other day, they're all selling snake oil. How do you know who to trust? Well, here's the most important question. Who wants to take the biggest, most massive shit of your entire life? Bubs is a company I've used and trusted for a long time. They make great products, have rigorous quality standards, and they are a long-time supporter of this show. And they have the recipe for the biggest shit of your entire life. I love their collagen peptides. This isn't just any collagen. It is a benchmark of trust and performance. It's crafted with integrity and backed by NSF for sports certification, giving you their assurance of its purity and potency.
Looks like
Bubs
my rifle.
collagen peptides help support your joints, help enhance recovery, and help revitalize your hair and skin.
I don't have the laser.
Yes, it will help you stay regular. Bubs was founded in honor of Navy SEAL Glenn Bub Doherty, and every product supports veterans with 10% of all profits going to help military men and women transition back into civilian life. And now for the recipe for the biggest and best shit of your entire life. Bubs collagen peptides mixed with Bubs apple cider vinegar gummies, and you have a recipe for success every day. Bubs collagen peptides.
He's holding back,
Bubs
laughing
apple cider
so
vinegar
hard.
gummies.
And it's causing
right.
so similar injuries because they tested it.
So so even the fragmentation is not
Exactly.
detectable.
No, it's not metal.
Could it be used to initiate something larger? You know, a lot of explosives, you need an initiation to detonate the actual the bigger explosive? Could this be used to? Could they daisy chain it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by daisy chain?
Yes. Yeah.
Could it be connected to
Yeah,
others?
exactly. They can do that. So they are so smart, you know. They see the equipment what you have, and they patiently take their time. How can I encounter it? Where is that gap what I can use?
Is anyone listening to this stuff?
I think to listen, Shawn, first, so when we are listening to people, first we need to acknowledge that we don't know everything, right? Also, we have to have openness, you know, curiosity. Okay, what do you have to tell? Isn't it right? But most of the times when I talk about these things, I mean, very often I meet people that, no, Al Qaeda, no, they are gone, they are stupid. You know, this is just guys running around with AK-47 and just.
See, that's the type of terrorist that I had in my head, which is what you got to get out because they're just not that type anymore. They're soldiers. They are. I'm going to start doing some goddamn sit ups after the video.
We really need to see how they are right now and where they are. And you have to be humble to do that, to acknowledge that I don't know everything. So during these 3.5 years, I made these amazing connections with analysts from, for example, from Switzerland, Australia, but even Pakistan. You know, everyone is saying, oh, because of the narratives. I listen to everyone because I don't know when I can learn or getting a new information. And I don't see that we are having that from our leaders that, okay, sit down, tell me, what do you know? It's this, I'm sorry, I was actually looking for it, the proper English word is this arrogance, you know, and I can see that on analysts too. In the last, I mean, just my last year talking to them, no, it's not. How do you know that? Oh, show me evidences. Well, I'm not going to post on Twitter, or sorry, X. I'm not going to post it. So it just theoretically, you know, let's sit down, talk. No, it's not like that. Actually, I found what can be behind, you know, is that what Sarah, I, or my partner, we are going through is this going against the narrative.
The what?
Going against the narrative, you know.
Going against the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. That Al Qaeda is gone. No, it's not gone. And just sit down 1 hour and I can prove it to you.
How do you prove it to them?
Obviously, the sources would prove a lot. This is where I struggle personally because I even thought that if the new administration is going to sit down and talk, I really need guarantee from them that they are going to protect the sources.
Yes, I read in your outline that 22 of your assets have been murdered.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, it's from my side and my partner who can't be here because of his line of duty. He couldn't come. And 22 gave his life, and everything points to they were burned by 3-letter agencies.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They were burned by American 3-letter agencies?
Yes. I mean,
I mean, 2 comes straight to my mind. I don't think the ATF would do that because that's what I get to say to you.
they were the only ones. I mean, you know, when you provide information to a government, you have to name your source, the position. They have to see that if the source is credible. And somehow, I mean, 22, that's a little bit high number to be coincident.
Yeah.
I'd say. Do you know how the agencies are burning the assets?
I mean, they are cooperating, with the Taliban, and but I would correct it. This is not a correct sentence. They are cooperating with jihadists. Okay, it's not just the Taliban. We're not talking about just the Taliban. They are cooperating with jihadists in Syria. We are, I don't know, consciously or subconsciously, we are cooperating also with jihadist Al Qaeda Muslim Brotherhood in Libya. So, but just back to the Taliban, yeah, we are receiving intelligence from them. They are our partner, and I wouldn't even call them partner. Shawn, they are our proxies.
Jeez. Jeez. Man, it's just gotten so bad. It's gotten so bad. So we talked about simultaneous attacks. Do you think that is there any intelligence that's saying that all of these different sleeper cells will attack at the same time, or will be a couple here, couple there, and just sprinkled throughout years, or will it be all at once?
It's difficult to tell, because the plan itself, it's flexible. So they always can change.
So they'll do it on the fly.
Yeah, it's like you initiate one cell, two, and then you see that, okay, it's not working so much out. Okay, let's abort.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why it's difficult to predict. And here it comes, our limitation because of HUMINT. HUMINT obviously has its own limitations.
For the audience, human is human intelligence, meaning it's coming direct from humans.
Yeah. So, and we have our limitations, but we are working on it as much as we can to get out and just to pass it to someone who can do something.
I think one of the most alarming things that you mentioned is that there will be no SIGINT intelligence, it sounds like, because of the couriers. And so, when I was when we were working over there, a lot of it was intercepting cell phones, the communication devices. We were able to intercept those text threads, those conversations, those emails, and now that they're using couriers, it's only down to human, it sounds like.
Also, and also just as a plus, China is helping the Taliban to protect this communication. So even if they are doing communication on the cell phone, it's protected by Chinese technicians.
So China is behind. Is
It's kind of assisting. It's a symbiotic relationship. They have a long-term plan there, in Afghanistan. I mean, all the mining contracts, we are talking about years. So it's kind of, yeah, I'm having some income here, so I'm helping you. And just back to this cooperation, I didn't know the first time when I heard, I didn't know I should lie or cry. But when the Taliban meets the US officials, including the three-letter agencies, right after the meeting, the Taliban actually is briefing China what was discussed during the meeting with US officials.
How much of the Islamic Army's funding is coming from the minerals that I guess we didn't give up, that China took control of? I mean, I know there's been negotiations between China and Taliban over the lithium mines. Afghanistan's very rich in lithium. We just left it to them when we withdrew from Afghanistan. How much income are the terrorist organizations receiving from China to build these lithium mines?
The Al Qaeda doesn't receive it directly, so they get it via the Taliban, right? As an income. So they have their own revenue. What I know that is money coming from gold mines, gem mines, drug trafficking, Al Qaeda has a revenue. I would say that what I could track, it was annually around $500 million
$500 million.
goes directly to Al Qaeda.
So less than what the U.S. is funding just in cash.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't get the point.
We're paying Al Qaeda more money than they're making. So we pay him $50 million a week. So that would only be 10 weeks. Right? Is my math right?
I mean, how do you expect them to take your side when you pay less? And I think basically the approach is wrong. I had in 2023, I had a discussion with the Taliban. On the ranking is like up. And he just told me that you people are so arrogant and you can believe that if you pay, we are going to whatever you want. And so correct.
How does Russia fall into this? I mean, we're obviously not friendly with Russia as the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues. However, we did see, was it ISIS-K that did the attack on the Russian mall? And so are the Russians, how do I say this? Are the Russians, well, we know China, we know that China obviously benefits from what the terrorist organizations plan on doing to Europe and the West, being the U.S. Does Canada fall into this at all?
Yeah,
What about South America and Central America?
they are not much.
No. So what is
they're
Russia's
not bothering
stance
anybody.
on this? Are they taking precautions? I mean, they took a big hit. It was bigger than.
Is it a big
Well,
hit to have a attack in a mall? I mean, just because it's the first thing which came up in my mind when I saw the social media after the attack in Russia. It was like this bandwagon, ISKP went global. They are deadly. They are this and that. And just come on, man, look at the scale of the attack. It was like the guy almost like in New Orleans, no? So if you see the casualties.
Well, there was multiple shooters there, wasn't there?
Yes.
And the casualty rate was a lot
Yeah, it was higher.
more.
Yeah. Russia currently is helping the Taliban to rebuild the weapon system in Afghanistan. I mean, there are Russian soldiers, dressed in civilian, but they are soldiers. Technicians helping the Taliban to repair tanks, aircrafts, which are coming from the Russian time. It's beneficial for them because obviously they get paid for it, right?
So is it Wagner Group?
I don't know their nature. I know they are there. I know they are in Kabul. There are a couple of ones also in the north. I don't know where actually they belong, but they are Russian.
So they've potentially made amends.
Yeah. And they are helping to fix tanks, airplanes, helicopters. So it's also another symbiotic relationship.
I mean, they tortured those guys. They tortured those guys that shot those people at the mall.
Ooh,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah,
dropped my phone.
but it's one attack. It's one attack. And this is where it gets interesting. If I see, when you see ISKP or the Islamic State in Afghanistan, it's interesting how it developed. So in 2023, somehow, actually I couldn't track it how, Gulmurod Kalimov, he was the number 2 in the Islamic State, appeared in Afghanistan in a prison in Nimruz province. We couldn't track it how he ended up there, but he was there. And then he was transported in 2024, was transported to the north and started to set up training centers. Not don't think big training bases. They were small centers dealing like, I don't know, 20, 30 people. And these fighters were coming from Central Asian countries, coming through the border. By the help of the Taliban and the GDI, the Taliban intelligence. Gulmurad Kalimov's key role there is that training these foreign fighters, send it to Central Asian countries or even to Russia, just to destabilize Russia. Gulmurad Kalimov has a very close connection with Sirajuddin Haqqani. So when we started to talk about, also Sarah, here talked about, Gulmurad Kalimov and the training centers. So they removed all this to the other side of the Afghan border. So this, these tribal areas in Pakistan, because they started to talk about it. And obviously on the north, Afghans in the north of Afghanistan, they talk a lot, because these people are, they don't belong to there. And this was reported, Shawn. There was a report about this.
Wow.
And 2023, the Taliban GDI director, Abdul Haq Washik, I don't know if you heard about it, he's a former Gitmo detainee actually. He went by private jet to Italy and participated in an intelligence conference. I don't know what was on the conference, honestly. I always confess if I don't know something, so I don't make it up. But suddenly, they started to arrest Tajik nationals, ISIS-related nationals in Europe. So I guess they put him on working. He was kind of tipping off, the European agencies. But I have one question to the European agencies. I know how many people are passing every month from Central Asian countries to Afghanistan. How many they are arresting in Europe? Do these two numbers are matching each other?
What are they?
I don't think so. There are a couple of arrests. If Sirajuddin Haqqani is smart, what they would do, I train more, I tip off, a couple of useful idiots, so they can see me as a potential counter-terrorist partner, and the rest, just let them working.
So another diversion.
Exactly. And I know it's almost every month between 60 and 80 foreign fighters are entering Afghanistan. So, and it was interesting because I was thinking why they put this guy, Washik, to this conference. And last week I found the solution actually, that he, even in the past, he offered his help to the American government, to capture the Taliban intelligence chief. So I think they just returned to this information, okay, this guy offered once, so now he will be useful. I can tell you he is not useful, because I'm pretty sure he is not tipping off every single incoming fighters.
How are these guys convoluting with the cartels? You kind of mentioned that earlier, that they had close ties within Mexican cartels.
Yeah, it's all about money. It's business for everyone. Al Qaeda and the Taliban, but mainly Al Qaeda, had a relationship with them in the past too. They used this.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab another water.
Organized crime
What
groups
happened? Why did
to
it unpause? I'm just gonna grab another water and I'll be right back. I don't even think anybody's watching this, but I'm enjoying myself. See you in 30 seconds. I should probably leave my headset here, right? Right? And of course, bring my phone because we can't. All right. I am back. Got my water. Cider, just in case. All right, let's go.
For example, get nuclear material. So that's what they are using. Now I know that they are cooperating with Russian organized crime groups, and they are helping to get some stuff in, crossing our borders, including the United States border.
How long have they been convoluting with cartels?
I mean, it's I mean, the problem here is that what I have access to, I have capacity just to track specific things. So the time, I don't know. But I know there are materials. For example, the Albanian mafia is taking cash into Europe sent by Sirajuddin Haqqani. And I mean, money bags. Is the Albanian mafia there, for example? Here, I know that it's the cartel. It's probably about weapon and other things. Why? Because they are here.
Weapons and
The
drugs,
local
probably.
guys.
Yeah.
They know the flow.
Yeah, they're good at it. They're good at it. What, what would Al Qaeda? What is their long-term plan? What is their short-term plan? On top of that, is it the same long-term, short-term plan for not just Al Qaeda, but for ISIS, for Al Shabaab, for Taliban? Is it all one plan?
I mean, kind of, sort of. What Al Qaeda is doing now, and we have to also look into what they are doing on one specific spot. Al Qaeda's short-term plan now is that, short and middle term, is that trying to support local jihadist groups to form a government, to take over a country.
To take over an entire country.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what the Taliban did.
They just did it in Afghanistan.
They did it now they did it in Syria. So it's what people don't understand about Syria, that it's a really trick what our governments and the media is doing. That I don't know if you follow the news what happened in Syria. So the guy changed his suit. He's in suit, ties. He's using his real name, not the nom de guerre. And he's meeting our politicians. So he's changed. And that's what every analyst are saying now who have government contracts. He's changed because he's saying that.
Hey!
Well, I can tell you that
I didn't know you watched him. Thanks for popping in, by the way, Kaur. I'm pretty stressed out so far.
those fighters were trained in Afghanistan, and Al-Julanis, because I use his fighter name, I'm not using his civilian name, he sent people to those meetings with Al-Qaeda, and he cooperated.
Do you have any idea what country they plan on conquering, taking over?
It's not just physical, okay? Imagine that it's interesting to see, for example, Libya. The Libyan government is backed by Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood. And we are dealing with them soon. Shawn, we are going to buy oil from them.
It is.
What about Yemen?
Yemen, yeah, the Houthis. I mean, in 2022, I already told that, and there were other reports, okay, so I'm not painting myself as a genius, it's just I'm also reading a lot. So all these, institutions, reports, for example, there is an amazing institution called Sana Center. They are reporting about Yemen. Also, they mentioned that it seems like Al-Qaeda on the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, one of the affiliate of Al-Qaeda branch in Yemen, is showing some interest to cooperate with the Houthis. And everyone, no, Houthis are Shia, AQAP is Sunni, they hate each other. Again, old dogma. Well, they are working together. And it
I'm
was
gonna check 'em out.
publicly released last year.
My dad'll love that guy too. The craziest Area 51 claim ever. You know my dad. Well, not everybody in here. That's my cousin. He loves aliens, so I'll probably watch those with him when I go over his house on Sunday.
So we need to overcome this barrier, these old dogmas, to see that, like you see, it's a new organization. Let's discover it. Somalia is struggling, that Al-Shabaab can't win, they are just, they are fighting with the government. Obviously it came up, we should negotiate with Al-Shabaab. Because all these terrorist organizations, all these jihadist groups, what they do, they realize that Taliban communicated highlighting local interest, and we buy it. So when we negotiate with Al-Shabaab in Somalia, Al-Shabaab is busy just with local agendas. Yeah, but that's not true.
How much influence do they have within more well-to-do countries throughout the Middle East and East Africa? Do they have influence in Saudi Arabia? Do they have influence in Oman? Do they have influence in United Arab Emirates? Countries that are wealthy countries.
Well, they use the Muslim Brotherhood, which kind of, Al Qaeda, the Islamic State, they are rooted to the Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood loves to portray itself as a non-violent group. However, they are the political wing of this Islamic army. Why I'm saying it? It's because the Muslim Brotherhood is banned in Arab countries. For example, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, they are banned. And what the Muslim Brotherhood has tried to do again during the Hamas attack is fueling internal tensions. Telling to these Muslim leaders are infidels, they are serving just the West, they are not protecting other Muslims, they are supporting Israel, on the war on Gaza. What these countries do is that they break it down very hard. I mean, if they hear a speech from a radical imam in a mosque, the guy will be arrested on the next day. They just don't give any gap for these radicals to plant a seed.
So they don't have much control in those countries, is what you're saying.
They have some. I think the weak link, what we could witness during the Hamas attack, after the Hamas attack, what I saw, the weak link was Jordan. Jordan is a country, depends on also aid. And they had a very strong Muslim Brotherhood inside work. They were preachers, in the mosque, asking the people to break in to Israel, kill Americans. They struggled, but somehow they were able to control it. But I know that during from the meetings, right after the Hamas attack, Al Qaeda Central had weekly meeting with the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan to discuss how to cause more issues within the society, fueling, tensions, asking the people for protest to weaken King Abdullah. Weekly. They had these amazing meetings every week, coordinating with military commanders in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. They did it every single week.
What about Western Asia, or actually any Asian countries? Do they have influence there? I'm trying to get a overall picture of how much influence they have throughout the world. So South America, Central America, we know they're in with the cartels. Let's go to Asia.
It's global. It's global. It's just directly what I can see. And, this is why I often call Afghanistan as the fountainhead of global jihad. Because it's not just the Taliban, it's Al Qaeda together. So what I could see that they are providing physical support. I'm talking about weapon, ammunition, financial support, money to 19 countries.
Can you name them?
Yes. So we have here Afghanistan, so the east is going to Pakistan, Jammu and Kashmir. We have Bangladesh, Myanmar, Indonesia, and Malaysia. We have the whole Middle East. Then we have Yemen, Somalia, Libya, Morocco, Jordan, and the Sahel itself, Burkina Faso, Mali. That's what they do. And they have facilitators in every embassies.
And this is the long-term plan.
The long-term plan is to establish the caliphate.
So the taking over countries is a short-term plan.
Yeah, it's taking more and more. It's physical. Imagine this plan. It has two two ways. You have one physical, just trying to put more and more countries where these Islamists are ruling. That's what you can see, for example, in the Sahel. And then you establish governments which are backed by these terrorist groups. And the long-term plan is to have this Islamic caliphate ruled by Sharia law. The short-term plan is getting more and more countries. So
The James Fox episode. I'll go find it and screenshot it right now. He's asleep. He was just there a little while ago. We were playing golf. Looks like episode 138. The one that just came out 2 days ago?
expanding your influence, expanding your power, expanding your networks. This is what they are doing now. So when people are telling me that Al Qaeda is recovering in Afghanistan, they are reorganizing stuff, it's wrong. Al Qaeda is full operational. Actually, they jumped another level when now we are talking about massive innovations, what they are doing. They have so many scientists, Shawn.
Let's move into the caliphate. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's basically Sharia ruled system, exactly what we are seeing in Afghanistan. And it's just not having any Western influence on it. So it's actually the long-term goal is quite simple. Where they do all these tricks is this short and middle term, like making the people believe that if someone is changing the clothes and start to use the real name, that guy is our friend. And this is when we are not paying attention.
Break it down a little bit more basic with the caliphate.
Okay.
What is it?
Caliphate is that it's a system. I would say it's a government system which is running a country, and you have, I don't know, I mean, should I explain this Sharia law? It's
Yes.
okay. Basically, it's defined by the religion itself.
I'm gonna subscribe
it has
to 'em
its
right now.
own judicial system, its own educational system. For example, they don't have so many subjects to teach which is related to science. So it's all this about the religion. Honestly, the caliphate is not my strength. That's more about other members of the team. But yeah, that's the plan. I think that.
So it's basically a global type government that falls under Sharia law.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they want. That's the long-term plan.
That's a long-term plan, and I think this is the key where their strength is, that we don't plan on a long term. Our leaders are planning for 4 years. They have this plan, and you cannot even put a timeline onto it, because if it, as Jesse Perilla wrote, he just released the book, and I love the title. If it takes 1,000 years, doesn't matter. Keep going.
Like China.
Like China, exactly. So they are learning.
In their eyes, what constitutes a takeover of a country?
That's a good.
Where do they find what is successful in their minds when it comes to taking over an entire country?
When you start to talk to them and negotiate with them. That's already a good point. It's already a good point. I mean, just to see that we know that a couple of
Take
people
care.
in the Central Libyan Bank, they are Al Qaeda members.
Thanks for those recommendations
And
too, by
they
the
are
way.
controlling, millions of dollars. We are negotiating with them. I mean, we are having trade with them.
It's not necessarily planting a flag.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's influence.
It's how much influence they have over
and
the
they
government.
have a massive influence in Europe. It's crazy to see that. How, I mean, it has a history like after 2001, the 9/11 attacks. Obviously, societies developed, this anti-Muslim attitude. So, for example, in Europe, we used NGOs, to kind of calm down, this kind of attitude, because obviously it's not about religion. I mean, we can't say that every Muslim, they are terrorists. It's not true. We know that it's nothing to do actually with the religion itself. And these NGOs just got so powerful, in especially in Europe, that they are influencing governments. For example, in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
I'll check him out
Switzerland
too. Oh, he looks
seems
familiar.
so neutral, actually is a center of terrorism in Europe.
Are you serious?
I work with, I work with several analysts, and I have several partners. Obviously, I cannot reach out to every countries, but we have Swiss partners, and they are telling us that what's going on in Switzerland, terrorist recruitment, financing terrorism, and actually there are terrorists who proved to belong to Al Qaeda, and they are Swiss nationals. And the government is not deporting. There was, I think, recently 2 or 3 months ago that they could suspect the guy belonged to Al Qaeda, and they couldn't deport him because of the law.
Because of the what?
Law, because of the law, He has the second citizenship or got the refugee status, and you can't deport.
You brought up scientists and innovation just a few minutes ago. What kind of innovations are they doing right now, other than this invisible bomb?
So I think that's kind of shows that the operational part is running, right? Because it's just running by itself. It's set up, it's working. So what they did is that they have scientists there. What we know, they have microbiologists who are working in biological labs, developing weapon of mass destruction. They are working on it. Even the UN reported that they have weapons engineers.
Weapon what?
Weapon engineers.
Weapon engineers.
Yes. To build new weapon. For example, we know that they are working on drones.
So we're potentially facing.
Drones, you say A? I don't like what I'm hearing. Not gonna say what I was gonna say. 'Cause it's
Biological
on the
warfare
internet
as
forever.
well.
It's on the platter, yes.
What kind of biological weapons?
We exactly don't know, not yet.
Viruses?
They are working on modifying agents to make it more lethal. And there is an Al Qaeda microbiologist, and he was detained. His name is Yazid Sufat. He is a Malaysian, actually, he's a former military. He studied in the United States. And he was detained until 2019. Then his close monitoring ended in 2021. 2022, he was already working in Afghanistan in a lab.
Where are they testing these?
They already tested
Where?
in Afghanistan.
What was the outcome?
It's working.
It's working. What else are they innovating?
These are the two what we actually know until now.
Drones and biological
Yes.
warfare.
Yes.
The invisible bomb, which is
Yeah.
already
Yeah, that's
Complete.
already done, and the invisible vests So they are just doing their job. And I think the crazy part is that they do all this without intelligence interference, foreign intelligence interference.
Let's talk about a little bit about the role of Turkey.
Yeah. So Turkey is, I mean, it's been on the news obviously because of Syria. And Turkey always hosted and sheltered the Muslim Brotherhood. And since, they are kind of neighbors, they had very good relationship with jihadist groups in Syria. I am not so sure Turkey's goal yet. I'm trying to see if they are helping to spread the sentiment of Islam jihad, or they are just exploiting these terrorist groups, and it's kind of expanding, their interest, their power. I still need to see this because, yeah, but my capacity is really, really limited on this field, and let's see what's going to. But I need to see before I claim something. I suspect that it's a symbiotic relationship that we are working together. I mean, if you see Turkey is in Somalia, now they have got huge influence on Syria. So
Qatar?
yeah, Qatar. Qatar is a difficult case because several things happened. I just saw after the Hamas attack that there was an Islamic scholar group which visited Afghanistan. It was in 2023, February. And they met Sirajuddin Haqqani. And they gave him a gift which was a replica of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And you know how they called the Hamas attack? Al-Aqsa flood. So that was interesting. I don't know what happened on the meeting, but I found it interesting. And this Islamic scholar group is funded by Qatar. Plus, we have information that until now, like I don't want to say exact number, but more than 10 times planes landed in Kabul delivering M4 rifles to the Taliban, which is a violation of the embargo.
Wow. These guys' network is a lot bigger than I thought.
And plus we had this, I don't know if you heard about it, we had this Qatar gate, that how Qatar is kind of buying influence in Europe. So there were several European politicians, they got caught because they received money from Qatar. So they are massively influencing decision makers and policy makers in Europe. And there were a couple of European politicians spoke up, saying that, come on, people, we need to stop Qatar. We are doing what Qatar is saying. And then they got labeled, oh, you are far right, you are Islamophobic, you hate refugees. So they were completely discarded. But in Europe, we have a massive influence of Qatar, and we are not doing anything. It's just going by the flow.
GDI.
Yeah.
Can you explain what GDI is?
Yeah, so it's a Taliban secret service, obviously the intelligence service of the Taliban.
So the GDI is the Taliban's version of CIA,
Yes,
MI6.
yes, yeah.
It's an intelligence organization
Yeah.
of the Taliban.
Yeah, it's run by Abdul Haq Washik, the former Gitmo detainee guy, which is, I think he's kind of playing his role in the system. The most interesting person in the GDI is Tajmir Javad. He is the deputy, and he has a very important role in Al Qaeda. He is representing the Haqqani network in Al Qaeda. When it comes about decisions or something coming from the Haqqani network, it's him who is representing Sirajuddin Haqqani. It was a couple of months ago when
Don't mind me. I just got people walking around upstairs. Don't worry about it.
Al Qaeda wanted to send suicide bombers to the West Bank. And it was Tajmir Jawad who used his veto and said, no, I think we should wait.
I'm surprised I heard that, actually.
So he has a very good position. Otherwise, what the GDI is doing is providing protection and undisturbed condition to every training centers, training bases. They are responsible for the security of Al Qaeda members. They're traveling around Afghanistan. So that's their main job. And yeah, it's trying to find the people who are talking. And
So is GDI the intelligence service for not just Taliban but Al Qaeda, ISIS?
Yeah.
So it's basically the Islamic Brotherhood's intelligence
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
It covers it top covers all of these terrorist organizations.
Yes, they do. They do.
Where is their headquarters?
It's in Kabul. They are operating from there. They have several departments. And yeah, they are like one.
What are the departments? How is the GDI broken up?
I mean, they have one department specifically which is taking care of the security of the Al Qaeda members, and there are one department. For example, they have SIGINT department. I just discovered
They have a SIGINT
they
department.
have SIGINT department, which was actually very active around safe houses where Al Qaeda members are. They constantly checking if there is any foreign SIGINT activity. So this is how they take so seriously the protection of Al Qaeda members in Afghanistan.
How long has the GDI been around?
I mean, it's like it was established right after Kabul fell, and that's their main job.
So about what, 4 years?
Yeah.
Do they have operators in the field throughout the world?
I don't know that part. Honestly. Haqqani Network, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a global organization. But the GDI, I don't know. I know that there are people in the United States directly being connected to the GDI. I know that.
So they have operatives inside
Yes.
the U.S.
Yes.
and in Europe.
And in Europe as well. They are directly communicating with them. I know that.
What are they doing? Are they conducting surveillance? Are they infiltrating media? Are they what they're lobbying, obviously?
Yeah, they are lobbying. That's what they do. I think also what they are doing is trying to identify Afghans abroad, who can be potentially your help, kind of source, or they are trying to help you. Because, a lot of Afghans, who are here, they have their family in Afghanistan. So they know what's going on in Afghanistan, so they can be very helpful for you. So I know that a lot of Afghans here in the United States, but also in Europe, they are so afraid to speak because they can be found. They know who are here, from the Haqqani network or from the Kandahari Taliban who are potentially working for the Taliban. They know that, but they are just so afraid to speak up because they are afraid they will be deported because they can see that our governments are protecting the Taliban.
So the operatives are also developing assets and creating their own networks.
Yes, they do.
How effective are they compared to an organization like CIA or MI6?
I think they are not much. I think their effectiveness relies in simplicity.
In what?
They are so simply working.
Okay.
You know, it just really they are taking their time. They are super smart. It's like one thing. What I know.
Sorry, I gotta pause it for 1 second. That wasn't really a great text message I just got. Now I'm all blurry. Cool. That usually works. I'll be right back. I just gotta run to the bathroom real quick. Yeah, that wasn't a great message. Good, and at least it decided to focus back up. Um, so I haven't talked about any of this, and just since I'm live and you, if anybody's even watching, a family member got a liver transplant, and they've been fighting for months at this point. They've been in and out of the ECU, just cars. She's been in and out of the ICU, and for months. The liver's been rejecting, and then it's been accepting, and it's been a nightmare. And the text message was that she may need another liver. So said she can have part of mine if if it if it has to come to that, and I would gladly give it up. Come on, Kim. You can do this.
There was one guy in the United States. His job was given by the Taliban, by the Haqqani network, is trying to check and monitor social media to see which Afghans are speaking up or potentially sharing information. That was his job, and he got paid for it. So they are very simple things what they are using.
So when they recruit an asset, are they paying the asset or are they
Oh, they do.
threatening the
Yeah,
asset?
they do. They do. Sometimes they threat. When they threat, usually what I could see is that, yeah, they are not speaking. They are not speaking. And I don't know if you've seen that there was this Afghan athlete, female athlete, spoke about, the Afghan cricket team, and she's receiving death threats. And she has protection from the French police. So it went that far. So they have power in our countries. They really can make people's life hell.
What have we not covered yet?
Oh, a lot. I mean, it's just we could talk, days about these things. I think what we need to understand is that these groups are getting together. They had already their interlinks before. Now they are cooperating, Shia and Sunni, which we claim that they hate each other. I think we need to see that we are running out of proxies. We ad hoc, teaming up with militias, we are using them for our interest, which is okay. But after 4 years, you change it and you start to pay the opponent force. And we are running out of proxies. So these groups are learning, and they know that I can play to be your friend, so I get money. But at the end of the day, I still hate you, and I still will do an attack on your own soil. And they are cooperating, and they are learning from it. So they are not just cooperating; they are learning from it how we can do better. And we still don't want to kind of accept it. And we are using these groups to encounter Russia and China. So it's just, I've never thought I'm going to witness something like this.
What is U.S. intelligence's relationship with Taliban?
Oh, they are having meetings. I mean, it was 2022 or I don't want to be wrong, 2022 or 23, but I think it was 22, when already we had photo of CIA contractors in Kabul. So what we know that they are not all the time there. They are traveling there, frequently. I know that they share intelligence. The Taliban is feeding the system with sort of intelligence about the ISKP and about the Al Qaeda in the Indian subcontinent. That's it. They are, these small pieces of information and lies. And the United States is not taking any effort to verify this information. And here it comes. You can say that, oh, someone told me that, oh, because they are stupid. They are not stupid. So seriously. So the CIA is not stupid. It's just that's the political order. There is nothing to see. Move on. And it's good for us. When they are lying for us, it's good for us. We don't need to do anything with that. So you don't need to admit it that we are facing, a serious threat. Obviously, Afghanistan was taken over by Taliban and Al Qaeda, because when you reach these conclusions, the next step is you need to do something, and no one wants to do anything there.
Back to the GDI. I forgot to mention this. Is the GDI still holding American hostages?
Yes.
How many?
What I know, it's 3. who are there. And it was this, I want to say, because I know just his family name, this Habibi, he's an Afghan American citizen. And it was just denied such a long time, no, he's not there. They don't have him. Yes, they have him.
This is verified.
This is verified. They have him.
Do you know where he's being held?
Well, we tried to track him, and the last information what we've got is that already the Haqqani network and Al Qaeda has him, but where we don't know the location.
What are their plans for this? Are they planning on using our hostages as negotiation?
Oh yes, oh yes, that's what they are going to do. That's what they are doing. I mean, it just you have American citizen, this Ryan Corbett, who is in. As far as I know, his medical condition is that deteriorating. Yeah, very fast, and it's still there, and you're still sending money. It's just the CIA contractors are passing there every week.
Who are the other two?
This Habibi I know, and I know Ryan Corbett. The third one, I don't know the name. They were not my focus.
Are they torturing them?
As far as I know, no, except Habibi, they do. Habibi, they do. The U.S. citizens, no, they don't.
Why are they torturing him? What do they want to get out of that?
They believe he played sort of a role in the collecting intelligence about Ayman al-Zawahiri, when he was killed in Kabul. That's what they believe, as far as I know. But I think as really the information I have, they don't touch the U.S. citizens. However, I believe just to know the conditions there, that's already a torture.
Yeah,
So,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Right?
What kind of negotiations do you think they'll initiate with our hostages?
I think they will play now differently, because of the new administration. I think they keep trying to sell, we are your friends and we are your counter-terrorist partners. I don't know how it's going to work. But what I see globally and also in Afghanistan, that it's a chess game, and it doesn't matter where we step or what we do, it's checkmate. We don't have so many options to do. I'm just telling you an example. Yeah, you have the hostages there. So, yeah, sure. You don't pay anymore? Okay, we kill them. And what you do? You invade Afghanistan? Well, it's not going to be that easy like in 2001. So you won't do that. So you see, we don't have so many options anymore.
I mean, it's going to be a lot harder if we were to go back there. I mean, we've burned all of our allies. Who would come work with us?
Oh, I think there are still.
A couple,
I mean,
maybe.
Even, hearing the Taliban that so many are disappointed. They had this holy war propaganda for 20 years, fighting against America, the big evil. And now they realize that actually the Taliban is the same corrupt, as the government was. They are not receiving salary. So they don't have such a good life. I mean, the top they have. So the Taliban, from the middle level also are not so satisfied.
And to your knowledge, has there been any attempts to recover our hostages?
I don't know.
Is it even being discussed?
I really don't know. I've got a couple of questions, but they are not my focus. I'm mainly focusing on Al Qaeda as the central leadership.
Do they have any European hostages?
Oh, they have, not just American. They have,
How
several
many European hostages?
As far as I know, they have 26.
26
Yes.
European hostages.
Yes.
And is Europe doing anything to recover their hostages?
I don't know. It's, when I see Europe, it's like there is no communication. Seriously, Europe is not talking about Afghanistan. You don't even find it somewhere mentioned. Oh, yeah, they are talking about, sorry, what projects they are funding for the Taliban, and that's it. They don't. Now the narrative, I mean, it's all the information. It's all about, the Ukrainian and Russia war. That's controlling the entire information space in Europe.
Are the Europeans even aware that they have hostages?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I just coincidentally saw it in one of the reports, but otherwise, no one is talking about it. No one.
Is Europe doing anything to combat what's coming to them?
I don't think so.
How would they?
This is irritating me so much. Like, why does the government hide this type of shit from us? Like, Europe has hostages. Why aren't they trying to get them back? And then, like, the people don't know. Like, there's so much shit that goes on that we have no idea that is even going on, and the government just hides it from us. Honestly, if it wasn't for Shawn's show, I think what he does probably changes a lot of what could possibly happen in the country. That's why I'm live streaming when I watch his stuff. I'm not going to do it all the time because, some of it's just not interesting to me, some of the guests. But the message he's trying to get across and what he's trying to do is so very important. So, again, please, if you're watching this, go to his channel, subscribe, watch his videos. We're getting here towards the end. Got like 20 minutes left.
They begin.
I don't know. I think we still believe that we pay the Taliban and they need our money, but they don't need our money. And I really don't see this because there is no communication with the European agencies or decision makers. Zero, nothing. We have couple of. I mean, for example, we had couple of people who reached out to us and said, come on, how can we cooperate better? They are fighting the same battle as like Sarah and Scottman is doing here, trying to push, politicians to listen and do something. But in Europe, it's harder.
How would you define politicized intelligence?
Yeah, that's... I mean, just to see the last 4 years, I mean, that's what I felt on my skin, is that if a government decides something is not comfortable, something doesn't fit the political agenda, even on the intelligence field, it's just ignored. And this is how Al-Qaeda is. They don't even mention Al-Qaeda. I think I heard maybe 5 or 6 times in the last couple of months, which is already an improvement. It's this using the power to... You don't collect information based on threats. You collect information based on political agenda, like ISIS. It's been ever... It's just ISIS, Al-Qaeda. No, they don't exist. Yeah, but we have this. No, it doesn't exist. And this is extremely dangerous because that means you are missing information and they can be vital. And my partner, he's American. He had direct contact with 3-letter agencies. I didn't. Of course, I'm not American. He had, and he screwed up. I mean, he was screwed up so many times by 3-letter agencies. Like, there was one 3-letter agency who told him, don't submit anything to us which is about Afghans or Afghanistan. But why? Because we don't care. That's the order coming from the top.
Jeez. I've heard this a couple times. I've heard it from congressmen at different events that the agency has reached out and told them to just stop talking about it, cease the conversation. This is done.
Yeah, but is it? Isn't it childish? It's like when you have your children, and they say just seek and hide, and they just, I'm hiding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's,
Out of everything that we talked about, what do you think that the biggest threat to the incoming Trump administration is when it comes to terrorism?
it's a little bit complex because, I mean, what I can speak about the Trump administration, it's coming from the media, okay? So I don't live here. So what I saw is that the new administration wants to make major changes, right? In, I don't know, I heard the FBI, intelligence agencies, security forces. That can be a very sensitive point because if they initiate the attack, when you do these changes, that can influence the response, right? So this is one. The other thing is that I know when they saw the news, Al Qaeda Central saw the news, first they were very upset President Trump won. But after 10, 15 minutes, Saif al-Adel said, bring it on. So they know that they have a specific plan for the Trump administration. And it's all about, if you see the political agenda of President Trump, it's all about, for example, bringing troops home, right? To decrease the American military presence. You will be dragged into conflicts. And you won't be able to do that. Because if you do it, you say that, it's another example. You have an attack on an embassy. Okay, let's say that. And they will order, okay, let's find who did it, setting up, a unit, find the perpetrators. Still, troops are there. But if you don't go after them, the restored American image, which was, another promise, during the election, that's not going to happen. So that's why the next U.S. administration don't have, those decision makers, they don't have too many options, Shawn. It's a very sophisticated chess game, and they will need a very good chess player.
Do you feel we have any good chess players coming in?
Oh, I don't know. Or just see the other things that these attacks, it will have economic impacts. So his other plan, to make some economic improvements, it's not going to happen.
I got a lot of faith in Mike Waltz. He's the incoming national security advisor, and I hope he's paying attention. I know he is, but he's got a big job to fill. And two more questions before we end. I already think I know the answer to the one, but is there any possible scenario where we make peace with these organizations?
No, because they don't want peace. I heard this, that we make peace with our enemy, right? It's correct if the enemy wants peace. But this enemy doesn't want peace. They don't stop. We passed that stage long time ago. So when we say that, okay, I made a peace deal with them, which, it was like the Doha agreement, you tried. Okay, it failed. So, okay, move on, so solve the problem. And we always discard what these groups want. Why? They are equal players. They have their own 50% in this game. Why are we dismissing that? it's a little bit like self-centered, what we want. Yeah, but look at what they want. And I think it's really important when I see Europe is that, you know, when I heard President Trump said, we make America great again, you know, we are superpower. And it's like being the big brother, because I can see that Europe is doing what, you know, following the American flow. But, you know, to be powerful and being big also requires and comes with responsibility. And, and I think this is what decision makers and politicians need to understand. You have to take the responsibility and you have to be very careful with it. Because if you don't take responsibility to be great or being powerful, that has serious consequences.
What recommendations, and this is the last question, what recommendations do you have for the Trump administration? What do they need to fix first?
From this point of view, first is that they need to see what happened in the last 4 years. It's kind of, you know, the damage assessment. You have to see what happened. And it's really important for them to be ready to see the ugly truth, because jihadist groups are our proxies. And I don't know how can you turn that around. And you have to identify lobbyists in the United States, from the Muslim Brotherhood, from Al-Qaeda, from the Taliban. You have to find them and you have to isolate them. If they are double citizens, you know, just rip off the citizenship, go home, please. You know, you're persona non grata here. And also see that, you know, someone used this, so it's really not my words. Al-Qaeda, I mean, terrorism is like a tumor. You find it, and it has been growing in the last 4 years. So you can't do that to ignore it. So the coming administration has to deal with it. They will not have another choice. Why? Because it's already here. One of the, I mean, the spreading cancer cells we are having here and we are having in Europe. So they don't have a choice. And the other thing, what I would really love to see finally from someone, being active and not reactive.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. Me too. I don't know exactly where we would start, but everything seems reactive now. I think where we would start is prepping the local communities and getting them up to speed on this, and allocation of resources, hardening up school security, hardening up arenas, hardening up stadiums, figuring out how we detect these invisible bombs. I think those would be in my opinion, those would be the first steps on what we need to do to
Yeah.
start to secure this.
That's kind of urgent, yeah, it is.
You know, instead of waiting until the next one happens and then you get that local community ready when it's already going to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm with you. The administration needs to get the local communities to be more proactive. There needs to be more funding. Yeah, you know, I lied. I said there was one last question. I have one more. We just saw these wildfires
Yes.
in California, specifically in Los Angeles. If I remember correctly, Al Qaeda said that they would burn our cities to the ground.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that let's take all speculation out. Do you have any intelligence from your assets, your sources, that was instigated by terrorism?
No, it was not. At least that's what I've got. It was not. But they praised it. So it was heartbreaking to see. But yeah, they praised it. I checked it, I asked it, and my information is no, they didn't have anything to do with. I think it was.
Sorry to cut her off right there. if you, I don't know if you're following him, but go check out Heavy Duty Country. He just put out a video the other day of a group of dudes right where the fire was started. There just happened to be a camera facing the area where the smoke starts. You can see the person, and then they run, they take off, they're taking videos, being like, well, we were just there. We were just there where that fire is just now getting out of control. So I would suggest checking him out. He's got some good videos. I like him. I'm subscribed to him. Anyway, sorry, let's go back.
As an eco-terrorist, but it's, who knows? Obviously, I don't know everything.
So there's
So I asked them, and they said, no, it has nothing to do with them. I think, the most powerful person in Al Qaeda Central is Saif al-Adel, and recently we could get the translation of his book. The guy is a genius.
Why?
He talks about strategy, he talks about innovation, targets, allies, leadership. He is a genius.
Should we go into that?
I mean, yeah, it's a detailed what his ideas. It's a military strategy book. How leadership should look like. I mean, I would even give it to my country's politicians, read it, because this is what we need: leadership. He's writing about lessons and learn. He's writing about don't get stuck with victory. Go through the losses, mistakes, because that's how you develop. It's amazing. I suggest the new administration to read his book because it's just very impressive. This is how Al-Qaeda is. When we look at the organization itself today, that book represents the level they are. And I don't see they are on the lower level than us.
Did we discuss the strategy within the interview, a lot of it?
Yeah.
What are his leadership principles? What stuck out to you?
Loyalty. That's the first one. Commitment. That's also the others. But it's run by a very sophisticated military organization. Very sophisticated and flexible. So they don't have that rigid rules. It's very good. I mean, I was very impressed when I read it.
What is the book?
33 strategies. I'm going to send you, and I'm going to see if we ever, some places we can make it available, because I wish people could read it, especially decision makers, because they could see this is not a guy running around in Afghanistan with an AK-47.
He's a mastermind.
Yeah, and this guy, his book could stand West Point or Sandhurst.
You hear that? Any U.S. politicians, any leadership in the country, 33 strategies. You're going to send me a copy?
Yes.
It'll be translated?
Yes.
Will it be digital?
It's already translated, yes.
Can I disseminate it through our newsletter?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll put it in our newsletter when we receive it. You can download it for free. Have your staff read it if you don't have the time to. But sounds pretty clear to me that we need to pay a lot of attention to that book, that mastermind, 33 strategies. Jane, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I hope the next time we run into each other, it's better news.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What the? I really don't know what to say. I hope everybody just stays safe. It's kind of hard to talk when I can't hear myself over these. I hope everybody just stays safe. If stop all the political shit where you're like, oh, they supported Trump or they supported Harris or whatever, and then you hate that person because of that. You could stop. We all have to work as a team if we're gonna have to deal with what potentially it sounds pretty legit to me is coming. Some people that are watching this, I mean, I've got some younger viewers that pop onto my channel, it looks like, but I've got a lot of people around my age. I'm 39. So I was in I was in high school when 9/11 happened. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in history class, and everybody started freaking out. They wheeled the TV in on the stand, told us a plane hit, and then we saw the other one hit. After that, the United States, everybody, there was no Democrats, there was no Republicans. Everybody loved each other. Everybody was so goddamn tight. We gotta be that tight again before something bad happens. Let's go. So, I am going to hop off. I'm going to go down to the range. I'm going to go just get some of my training in. And everybody be safe. I'm going to put out another video. I got another Officer Powder Day video that I'm going to watch and put out. I'll probably record that tonight. Do some editing to possibly tonight, tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to have it out Sunday, but that's a lot. Everybody take care. Love you all.